The Stop Drop Gaming F1 show is brought to you by Stop Drop Gaming's F1 2014 Sunday Night Leagues for Xbox 360 and soon F1 2015 on Xbox One. Visit stopdropgaming.com today to sign up.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Stop Drop Gaming Forum F1 show. Tonight, I'm joined by EJ. Hello, EJ.
Hi.
Dr. Love himself, Stuart.
Hello.
Mr. F1 Radio, Callum.
Hello.
And Steve.
Ahoy!
This weekend saw a very uneventful Canadian Grand Prix. There were a few talking points, though. The first being Ted Kravitz's podium interviews. How do you think they went, Callum?
Well, I thought Ted did all right. To be fair, no, I think it was good to see one of the pundits of F1 actually get a go, not some random celebrity who has no idea about the race they just watched.
I think it's generally good when the likes of Eddie Jordan do them, mainly because former Tina Roma, pundit, and just general good character does it. But when it's just like Schwarzenegger, why the hell is he doing it? Is what I tend to think.
Because he'll be back.
Understand him. Oh, fuck off.
What was disappointing was that he never wore his notebook sandals.
Oh,
yeah, that was a shame. He did have his notebook with him, though. I don't know if anyone else noticed that.
No.
Yeah, I saw that.
He also referred to Nico Rosberg as Nico Rosbag.
I think that was in his book.
Was it? Did he do it on purpose?
Bernie Ecclestone told him to do it. Heard it here first.
Well, give it credit. Rosberg is a bit of a scumbag.
He is a scumbag.
He is.
That brings us nicely into our next subject. Hamilton taking the win, but he was very. Nico Rosberg was very close, and he wasn't. Hamilton wasn't as dominating as he was in Monaco. Was he, EJ?
No, indeed, he wasn't. But he had to conserve his brakes, or was it Nico? I don't know. But somebody had to conserve the brakes.
How did you think he did, Steve?
Well, I think Hamilton controlled the race really, really well. I think he had Rosberg in his pocket all the way along, pushing when he had to and whatnot. They were all saying on the radio, weren't they, that they were gearing up for the last 10 laps, and it didn't really happen. But, I think if Rosberg could have got closer, he would have. But I think Hamilton had the measure of him this weekend.
Well, we all heard of Rosberg just constantly on the radio. How's the other car doing? What's the fuel? What's the tyres like? It's just he seemingly hasn't got an answer in a straight race between the two of them, which they had today at track with reasonable overtaking opportunities.
Yeah, Rosberg was cheating again, wasn't he? He was asking for more information across the radio than he was allowed to be given. It must be really annoying for his race engineer every time Rosberg comes across and asks information. It must be very embarrassing to have to go back across, in front of millions of viewers to say, "Sorry, Nico, I can't tell you that."
Yeah, it's kind of a bit of a pain.
To be honest, it makes Rosberg look like a bit of an idiot for asking those questions in the first place. Like, he should know that the rules are there for him. He can't ask those questions, so why is he asking them in the first place?
Rosberg's just flustered. Rosberg is just flustered.
We all know that Hamilton pretty much had the race in his pocket and just won it in the slowest time possible.
The interesting thing is, though, how would it affect Rosberg's race by knowing how much fuel Lewis had?
I think it just gives him the information, he's low on fuel. I'll be able to push a bit more because he's going to have to conserve, and therefore he's going to be lift and coasting and other such things. It's just.
I think he was just concerned about the fact that he had no fuel left, and he was worried that if Rosberg did have fuel, he'd have to push, and he'd have to push by going faster, not with fuel, basically. And that puts us on to our next subject, quite nicely, racing. Vettel's overtake on Alonso. The first one where he looked up into the hairpin. I honestly thought it was a really stupid move because he could have just waited until the straight. Ferrari's got so much more power than McLaren, but he had to prove a point.
I think the thing is you can't really moan at him too much for doing stuff like that. We complain at drivers for just being dull, sitting back, doing nothing, and not giving us entertaining racing. Vettel's trying to do that. I mean, he's trying at the hairpin. We all saw later on with, I can't remember which Force India, was it Hulkenberg?
Hulkenberg.
Yeah. Down at the final chicane. I mean, he's trying to do the moves. He's trying to be entertaining. Okay, it's not coming off, and he's basically effectively giving people at times the choice. You choose if we crash or not.
Yes, it doesn't work though, does it? Because you've got an arrogant German versus a stubborn Spaniard. So it's, and you saw that, didn't you? And that's why Vettel became worse off from that incident. It's because he tried to go out and make a point, and Ollie's right. He just looked like a muppet. Because you're never going to be able to do that to Fernando Alonso, especially in the braking zone. It was too far back. Ollie's right. He should have waited, got him down the straight, past the start-finish line, and no one would have thought any different of him. But no, it's typical, isn't it? He knew he was catching him. He's in the Ferrari, the Spaniard's last car. You know, I think he did go to make a point, and yeah, he just come off worse off, didn't he?
I think if he was going to do it to make a point, I think he was going.
Action in the race.
I think that there was a bit more, but
the groundhog was definitely the biggest action of the race.
No, but you got to take into account though. I don't know. It's just it's known for producing high action races, and we had average kind of race round there, mainly overtaken under DRS, if at all. But we want to see people making moves, but then we're complaining when they're doing locking upper brakes and trying a bit riskier stuff.
I have to agree with Stuart.
There's being risky and there's being stupid, though, isn't it? I mean, a risky move, is Massa versus Ericsson, isn't it? I mean, that's a much riskier move, and fair play to the pair of them for doing that. No quarter given sort of thing, but Vettel's was just stupidity, petulance is another word I could use.
I think yes, a little bit, but again, if we discourage him from racing,
it's not discouraging from racing. It's just be sensible about it. There's no sense in taking the pair of you off when give it a couple 100 yards, you'll be passed. DRS and engine power will see to that.
Let the races be races is what I'm thinking at this point.
Yeah, but race smartly. Max update. Ba-ba-bum.
Verstappen.
Oh, God.
Sorry, who?
Verstappen.
Yeah, who's he?
You know who he is. He's the 17-year-old guy in the Toro Rosso.
Oh, was he the guy that was at the back of the race for the entire race that did absolutely nothing?
Yep.
So that brings us on to Alonso and his sort of anti-PR rant on the radio. He was very outspoken about the, we've heard all the stuff about McLaren, and they keep saying it's going to get better and the engine's going to improve. And in fact, Alonso put it perfectly in the race. He said, we've got no power, we haven't got fuel, and we haven't got reliability.
Don't forget JB's rant as well.
I think I missed that one, actually. Did he rant after the race?
No, team radio near the start, because he got told to fuel save. He was in strap 6 and you need to be in strap 3, and Jensen said, "You would not believe how much lift and coast I'm doing at the moment. It's a joke."
Well, the cracks seem to be showing, don't they, Steve?
They do. I honestly thought that Fernando was just going to put 2 fingers up to Ron and go, "Do you know what? I'm going to run out of fuel just to spite you. I'm going to go out there and race until the car gives up," which essentially it did. They're going out there and slogging their guts out, and they haven't got the machinery to do it. And yes, they're getting paid a lot of money to do it, but it can't be anything that they love. I defy anyone.
They're world champions. They want to be fighting at the front rather than any of them do. They all want to be fighting at the front, and when they're spending most of the time battling at the back with the likes of pretty much Sauber's, Force Indias, and mainly the Manham Russias, it says a lot.
Yeah, but the thing is, though, is Fernando could go and get a seat tomorrow in another team, couldn't he? Jensen, hopefully, because of his agent and whatnot. But McLaren have to up their game massively. They knew they were going to struggle here at Canada. I sort of hoped against hope and thought, maybe a little upgrade might get them somewhere. It didn't. Worse than ever. And you'd have to say that they're going to struggle again at Austria. But
Was it a waste of 2 tokens?
I think so. I do. What did it get them?
They were further away than they have been before, I think, this weekend.
They're going backwards.
Yeah.
You should have done what the Mercs did and not spend tokens, but sort out your engine unreliability.
I suppose we don't actually know how much work is going on behind the scenes, but you'd think a company the size of Honda, they haven't had the development time, have they? They're doing very much public development. You'd have to say that everyone else has gone through this pain as well, especially Renault, who are still going through it.
Well, you say that, but they had an extra year to develop the engine.
Yeah,
but
from scratch.
the thing is, you say that, but you're not getting actual physical miles on an engine like when you are with taking it to a track like Mercedes did, and the rest on them. Because when you test it at like Brazil and other such things, you have altitude and other such things that you can't properly recreate in a lab.
But that Honda engine at the moment isn't even at the spec of the Ferrari or even the Mercedes of last year.
Yeah, how many years?
If they were at that point, but they're not. They're even worse than that.
How many years were Mercedes developing that hybrid though? Because it was more than 12 months.
Oh yeah, they were going from it. You could quite easily tell from about 2009. They got Hamilton signed. They knew he was coming in for the next season.
I don't think it was back as far as 2009. I don't think it was back as far as 2009. I would probably say 2012. Do you remember you had Rosberg and Schumacher absolutely nowhere at the back end of the 12 season?
I remember Michael Schumacher and his terrible comeback.
I
think everyone does really. That was.
We shan't mention that.
To the car,
it's basically tarnished his reputation.
Yeah.
On the 2nd of June 2015, Guido van der Garde put a picture on Instagram of a seat fitting in go-kart.
Oh, he's gone forward with his career.
He's done full circle. From karting to GP2 to F1 to karting.
Anyway, the next topic for discussion, Steve alluded to it earlier, the fight between, the overtake that Massa did on Ericsson. Were you impressed, Callum?
It was the best action of the race, and sadly it only came on lap 9. It was absolutely fantastic, and I thought Ericsson, who I don't rate that much, did pretty well in trying to defend his position. Earned some respect off me.
He did much better than other newbies to the sport. Grosjean and Maldonado, to name a few.
Again, Maldonado. Again, Grosjean in the race with who was it? Roberto Murray?
Yep.
Stevens it was.
Stevens.
Yeah.
Yeah. Grosjean needs to get a pair of glasses. I mean, seriously, he needs to take a leaf out of Jack Villeneuve's book, and that is wear glasses in the car, or get contacts, or get some form of eye surgery, because he's an absolute numpty when it comes to spatial awareness. Lotus had their best qualifying of the year. What was it? 3rd row of the grid, and in one foul swoop, Grosjean's gone and buggered it up again. It's frustrating to say the least. It kind of goes to the last podcast, doesn't it, where we're arguing, about should Formula One have like the best drivers and best technology and all that? And the answer is, well, yes, it should have, but unfortunately, no, we can't afford to do that. So we put Grosjean in the car.
Well, Maldonado.
Well, we'll remember Sebastian Bourdais' brief attempt in F1, and he's worn glasses for years. But okay, IndyCar and all that kind of stuff, it's no comparison. It's all down to a driver, and he got in via sponsors and stuff like that. But money's a critical factor. Can't take that away. We all know Maldonado's in by Venezuelan oil money. I think even Alonso, I think even Alonso's in there somewhat because he brings a lot of Spanish bank money.
Santander.
Yeah, but we say Maldonado. Technically, I think we need to give him some credit. He did win GP2, if I remember rightly.
No, he didn't. He came 2nd to Grosjean.
Did he? I'm going to Google
irony.
Well,
I think it's. I mean, I don't understand why these big, oil or banks or why do they go after bad drivers? Why can't they sponsor a good driver to get into Formula One?
Well, I think the answer is obvious, isn't it? It's that's the best driver or the most known about driver in their country at that particular time. Name me another Venezuelan driver.
Johnny Cicotto Jr.
Okay, who I know about.
Have you not heard of Johnny Cicotto Jr.?
No.
I have now.
Well, if you have a bit of a YouTube on the start of the 2013 Monaco GP2 feature race, you will see a 14-car pileup, all caused by Johnny Cicotto.
Wow.
Why on earth are not PDVSA sponsoring him? I mean, come on.
Leading the Venezuelan flag just as well as Maldonado, though.
You know, this is again, it's another Maldonado conversation that's hijacked a perfectly decent topic, but maybe that's why the companies are doing it. Perhaps they want to get seen, so that if they sponsor a really bad driver, there's a really good chance there'll be an incident. And what's the picture that's going to be put up by the news? Their sponsorship.
Exactly, it's a
That's a fair
win-win.
point.
We get crashes, they get sponsorship.
Oh, get him on the manners. And the manner said, you're not going through, Rosberg. Bye.
EJ, did you notice that Manor have actually got a sponsor now?
Oh
Yeah,
my
I
God.
know.
They've got two.
Have they two? I saw Airbnb on the side.
TGFI, or something. Thank God it's Friday afternoon, whatever it is.
Is that even a company?
Yeah, so TFI Friday sponsored it, and now everyone's going to go and get a meal from TGI Fridays, yeah?
Yes.
I'm sure other reputable restaurant establishments are available out there.
I really think that we should consider putting a little pot together for some SDG sponsorship on the Russia.
Yeah.
I mean,
Do you know
we've
what?
got enough members now. This is a call out actually to all the members. If you're interested, if we can get a quote for an SDG sponsor on the side of the Manor, would anyone be interested in putting some money in?
I am. I'm willing to donate the quid.
I can have my website on there as well. I'm in.
Also 50 quid in.
I hope you all enjoyed this week's episode of the SDG F1 show. If you're interested in joining us, we record this on a Tuesday night at around 8 o'clock. It normally takes about half an hour. Just pop a message on the forum or to any of us on the forum and you can join us.
Or comment on the video.
Yeah. We also run regular Assetto Corsa, F1 2014, Project Cars now, races, and FIFA. Got a range of games that we cover. If you're interested in any of them, playing with any of us, just pop onto the forum. It's www.stopdropgaming.com and check us out. We'll see you next time. Thanks very much.
See you next time.
Bye.
Laters.
Ta-ta for now.
Got an update on where he's headed in the world of racing.
So has he managed to move from the centre of Amsterdam by the cash point by the bridge to just outside the coffee shop that sells anything but coffee?
Yes.